games.
Yeah. So I have not gotten an exact progress report on him. When I was told coming out of break was that we would progress through this week and then hopefully be day-to-day after this week. Does that mean he'll play Friday, Sunday, next week on the West Coast trip? I don't know that we have a time.
Is this taking a little longer than you guys figured?
I knew through the All-Star break, right before the All-Star break, like literally the night we were leaving, they told me it would probably take another week past the, past coming back.
How's Gordon's right ankle feeling after hitting some time in that last game?
You know what? He said yesterday it was feeling good, so I didn't even ask him today. I don't know. I'm guessing it's fine.
You talked the other day about how you need to do a better job. Are there rotation changes you consider at this point?
I mean, I think you're always looking at ways to rotate. I think, to me, it's play better. And I think that, and I told the guys this today, when you're not getting back in transition, that's just an issue that you can't fix to win, right? You have to. If you're not gonna get back, we're gonna have a hard time winning. It's hard to keep teams from scoring 5-on-5, let alone 5-on-3. And then I think that the one thing that we've really honed in on is how we can, again, execute better to eliminate runs. And I thought a good example is the other day they just go on the huge run and we didn't get great looks, nor did we get our defense set, and they probably were all related, and I just think sometimes that's the case. When things aren't going your way on offense for whatever reason, human nature is to take a step back, or not take a step back, but not be as good defensively, and great teams don't do that. And we've been lucky to have teams that have not done that in the past, but for whatever reason, that really was bad.
That transition defense, is that something you've noticed a lot?
It's not been as good as it needs to be. Sometimes it's very evident and obvious, just purely running and sprinting back. And then sometimes it's less obvious in that we run to our matchups, or you run with your guy and you don't get back and help. We don't call out coverage as well, those types of things. Those are kind of secondary issues in transition. But if you're not getting back, it's just hard to win.
The other part, you said the execution offensively during runs. Is that guys trying to do too much? Is that what?
I'd say each game's a little different.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all the stuff that teams look like when they're not playing good basketball.
Just the overall pattern. You play well against good teams. Lesser teams, you take your foot off the gas.
To me, every team in the NBA, because every game's its own entity, you better bring it or else you'll get beat. That's a constant theme. For whatever reason, this team has not been as good in those games as our previous teams have. And that certainly is bothersome. But I think there's a number of reasons in each game of why, and I don't know that it's always consistent. But yeah, it certainly is. I mean, it's not a good thing to happen, and it's largely why we're where we are in the standings and everything else. But yeah,
Al's shot attempts have been on the rise lately. Is that something you've been trying to get him more involved on offense, or is he just being more aggressive?
We are running more high pick and roll. We are doing more things with the two-man game, especially with Kyrie. Kyrie's getting a lot of attention off that. So Al's going to get more attempts. Al feels better. You can tell Al looks a lot better. He's just he's played really well for the most part in the last 2 months. I think it's all due to the fact that his knee's better.
You've talked about keeping guys from getting comfortable quite a bit this season. Why have some guys been able to get comfortable, and how do you sort of head that off when you see a guy?
You mean teams we're playing against?
No, like specific guys, like Levine. The other night, kind of going out like that.
Well, first of all, they're really good players who are amped up to play against our guys, right? I mean, that's just part of the NBA, and I always tell the story of early on in our career, just playing against great players and feeling like you guarded them really well in a game, and then learning that great players remember that, and they go off on you the next time. specific example that I remember was Carmelo my first year. Like, I thought we guarded him pretty well the first couple of games, and felt good about it, and then he just goes off. Like, you know, these guys have long memories. They're good players, and you have to bring it every single night against those guys. Levine had a great game. Markkanen had a great game. And then they got, you know, Tom the other day, they got so comfortable that some of the shots they hit late were exceptionally well defended. And, you know, but that's just part of it when teams get comfortable. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Calming influence does Al provide when
No, Al's a big steadying guy. Yeah, I think that Al's been through a lot. He's done nothing but win his whole career, and yet, you know, and I've seen this not only this year but previous years. You know, he had to come in and tell me that it's all going to be okay last year at one point. Like, you know, he's a lot more steadying than probably any of us, and you know, we're lucky that he's here.